manifests. Every living entity in the liberated condition has a form and can be in Shantaras or Dasyaras, Sakyaras, Vatsalyaras or Madhuryaras. And in those rasas, they're one of the neutrality, one of the servitorship, one of the friendship, one of the parenthood, one of the conjugal love. One has a particular form. Sometimes in those rasas one can change their form in their own will. In the rasas, Shantaras, there's higher and lower Shantaras. Shantaras is neutrality, like the grass and the trees. But we have to remember that in the spiritual, all these things are all cognizant. The trees are cognizant, the grass, they know everything. They're not like the grass or the trees of this world. And in the Dasyaras, one likes to do the service for the others and service for Krishna. So all these rasas, one has their form, their Siddha Swarup, the eternal form that we all have. But now, coming to this world, covered by the layers, it is there, but it is like just like the hand can wear many gloves. One glove, other glove, other glove. You can wear a big thing, and practically the hand is unrecognizable. The hand is there, but it's been covered by so many layers of, can be, sometimes those of you who have been to this know you wear the inner glove, the outer extra, and then something over that, and the mitten over that, and it becomes like, you don't even know it's a hand, it just looks like a club or something like that. But there, underneath it all, there's a hand. When you pull everything off, there's the hand again. You may not know that it even has the 5 fingers or the thumb or anything like that. It's just like something on the outside. So similarly, the living entity has his form, eternal form, Swarup Siddhi, the form, the eternal form. Now, actually, interestingly, it is said by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prabhupada will always glorify, all the acharyas glorify Lord Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya, that he is non-different from Krishna. He is not expansion or incarnation, he is Krishna himself come and with the mood of Radharani. And in his movement, and he exhibits that vipralamba, that separation that Radharani feels from Krishna when Krishna leaves. There's vipralamba and sambhoga. There's separation, and then there's meeting again. Now, it is actually stated by the acharyas, and many of them are in their liberated, well, they're always liberated, but in their spiritual forms are manjaris or gopis. And they're also in the mood of Radharani when she's separated from Krishna. She's crying for Krishna, she's very intensely thinking of Krishna, but then she's anticipating meeting Krishna again. So that quality of anticipation is an extra quality that is not found in other rasas, even in the, that is there in the Madhurya ras, it is there somewhat in Vatsalya ras where Krishna comes and goes, but not to the extent that Srimati Radharani feels separation. So this vipralamba and this sambhoga meeting again is a very intense feeling on the spiritual level. We have some reflection in this material. Well, there's separation, there's meeting, and one is happy to meet again, and one doesn't, one misses someone when they're separated, but it's very superficial. It comes and goes. If they're gone for 3 months or 6 months, they forget about them. Oh, didn't you just leave 5 years ago? We forgot about them already. But Radharani, she can never forget about Krishna. She was always crying for Krishna. Sometimes she's just lying down, barely conscious. She's just murmuring Krishna, Krishna, Krishna like that. And sometimes Krishna himself becomes Radha, Radha. In fact, that is the reason. When Narad Muni visited Krishna and Rukmini and Dwarka, Krishna manifested his Chaitanya form. He actually said, I want to come in a form to taste Radha's love for me. I've tasted all things, but I've yet to taste that. I want to taste that. So that's how he came as Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya very much exhibits Madhurya Ras in great intimacy in the mood of Radharani's separation from Krishna. And it is said, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, one follows Lord Chaitanya. By his mercy, if one becomes perfect follower of Lord Chaitanya, we may have our Swarup Siddhi, our eternal form in Dasya Ras or Sakya Ras or Vatsala. But one can be, by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, one can go to the Madhurya Ras. One can, by his mercy. Generally, one's very satisfied in their rasa. One's very satisfied. It can be in the Krishna Lok or can be in the Vaikuntha. One's very satisfied. But by Lord Chaitanya, one can come up to the very high, intense mood of separation, the deep love that Radha has for Krishna. Can't be exactly like Radha, but we can be in that mood. But that is a very high level. So one is in a particular rasa, but again, as I said, coming to this world, all these things are covered by the layers of material conditioning. Layers and life after life, all the material elements. There's a little thing crawling there. Do you want to get something and take him out? Put him on a flower or something. A little, I don't know what it is. He's looking at me. Oh, be careful. Yeah, be careful, don't kill him. Yeah, okay. Put him in the garden. Remember there was a story, Prabhupada, he was sitting in Mayapur and he said, see, I've been watching this little insect. I think he is very hungry. Put him on a leaf. He said, put him on a leaf. I think he is very hungry. He's walking on the concrete. He's looking, but he can't find anything. So coming to this world, we are covered in so many layers, and therefore, there's, as we said yesterday, there's not much interest in spiritual life. The spiritual intelligence is decreased. One becomes more absorbed in the material life, and it becomes very much in the background. Or in one section of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that the people, especially in the Kali Yuga, they're so engrossed in their materialistic activities, they don't even think about the spiritual life. It is like a spot on the horizon. This is the description is given. Like a spot on the horizon. If you're looking in the horizon, you don't even notice a spot. You're looking, a spot on the horizon. For them, it's like that. Of course, for a devotee, it is the all in all, and is the actual reality of our situation. But for the materialists, they're so absorbed, they're not interested. But those who have developed, and as mentioned here in this particular section of the Srimad Bhagavatam, those who can meditate on the Virat Roop and gradually the form of the Lord in the material universe and the upper planetary systems and going down like that. One can meditate. This is all connected, as we were saying yesterday, to the Supreme Lord. And then or one can go to the Lord within the heart. One begins to meditate. So here Krishna says one can begin with the mind. This is, of course, the process of jnana yoga. One can, with the mind, start to do the meditation. One has to, by unalloyed intelligence. Now, the mind can be very pure, or the mind can be distracted by so many other things. And the conditioned life is distracted. It can be our best friend or our worst enemy. Today my mind is, I'm feeling good, my mind is my friend. But tomorrow, my mind is my enemy. I'm very agitated. Even if I sit alone in a room, I'm agitated. Even no one is around, I'm agitated. So sometimes the mind, this is adhyatmic klesha. There are different types of miseries. Miseries from other living entities, miseries by natural disturbance, miseries from our own body and our own mind even. So in the original state, the mind is very satisfied, very pure, and is always thinking of ways to serve Krishna. It's like a shiny mirror that is always reflecting and thinking of ways to serve Krishna. But now conditioned, the modes of nature especially mode of passion, ignorance, disturbing the mind. It's wandering. It's looking. It's always looking for satisfaction. But it's not looking in the right place. In conditioned life, it's just looking in the material world. So the mind doesn't find satisfaction. So therefore, it's always moving from one thing to the other, and it's been going on for a lifetime. So the mind is flickering around all over the place, doesn't find the full satisfaction, and in one thing, but then moves to the other thing. So after a while, we start to think, well, the satisfaction means moving around all over the place. Having a variety, moving around, and that is satisfaction. We can't just do one thing, we have to do many things, and then we'll be satisfied. But even doing many things, we remain agitated, always thinking, and we have to, just like today, everyone's going around, mind is going here and there, the mind is dictating. Instead of thinking ways to serve Krishna, the mind is dictating to the eyes. Look at that thing. Dictating to the ears. You hear that thing, more materialistic thing. And dictating to the nose. You smell that thing. You touch that thing. You taste this thing. And then taste something else. So the mind is dictating. Should be the intelligence is guiding the mind. But the mind is now dragging the intelligence for whatever it wants to do and dictating to the senses. So do this, do that, do the other thing. But we can never be satisfied by that, because there's just a certain amount of satisfaction that we can receive. If we touch something, the mind says, touch that piece of wood. For how long we can touch it and feel satisfied? Right? I'm going to touch you. I want you to touch that wood all day long. You will feel satisfied. But the thing itself is not satisfaction. It's just fleeting. Hear that thing. Oh, this is a nice song. Listen to that song on the radio. All right, but if I tell you listen all day long and every day, you'll be sick. You'll hate that song after one day, even you'll hate that song. Everything is like that. Taste testing. The nicest of the things. I like to eat gulab jams. All right, eat gulab jams for 1 week, every day. After one day, you'll be, don't give me any other gulab jams. Huh? And, the experience is if someone offers you gulab, oh no, I can. Too much. Because they just think, of course, gulab jams offered to Krishna is another thing. But in the material world, so, tasting, hearing, seeing, seeing, I like to see this, see that, but if you I remember one time, many years ago when I was travelling around, I had a bus party, we would travel around, do programs, and we picked up a couple of hitchhikers. They were from Europe somewhere, a boy and a girl. And so it was down south somewhere, and we were going down south. We were going to Melbourne, where we were somewhere doing, and then we were heading into the Melbourne temple. So we picked up these hitchhikers, and they wanted to be dropped off at a place called the 80 Mile Beach. They were all excited. We're getting closer. How far is it to the 80 Mile Beach? Oh, just up here. And so, and then we got to the place. And they said, oh, this is the 80 Mile Beach? Yeah, this is the 80 Mile Beach. Well, where do we go? Well, you walk down there about 500 metres, you turn right, you walk 80 miles, that's the 80 Mile Beach. Walk along the sand, go 80 miles, then you've gone on the 80 Mile Beach. So when I put it to them that way, they laughed. They were so excited just to see the 80 miles. What is it, 80 miles of sand? That's the 80 Mile Beach. So people get all excited about seeing things and doing things, but when they actually do it, then they get bored very quickly. They have to quickly move to something else. Even walking now, they're so, everyone today, of course, is always looking in the screen. I call them screen addicts. They just have to look in the screen. They're walking along the road, they're looking. Sometimes they walk in the road and the car comes. I see them, they're walking on the, like I fly so many places, they're all walking in the airport, all looking. Even early in the morning, sometimes I have to catch the early morning. Even early, what's to see on the screen at 4 o'clock in the morning? But somehow or other, they have to look in the screen. They got so many friends contacting them at 4 o'clock in the morning. They have to. Is it, right? And sometimes when they go to the airport early, it's like that. They're walking. Even walking on the plane. I saw one man, he came out of the toilet of the plane. Even he couldn't go to the toilet without looking in the screen. People become attached to these things because they're bored. They're bored, actually. They have to fill it up. But actually, the same things, the mind, the eyes, the ears, that all, if we think of Krishna, then in the beginning it may be difficult because we had so many lives of doing these other things and moving one thing to the other. So in the beginning, we come to Krishna, it's very nice, but the mind is so conditioned that, all right, you've seen enough of Krishna, now you have to do something else, because that's its habit. Moves to something else. So quite often the new bhaktas and bhaktins, they get in anxiety. My mind is telling me now I have to do something else. I've come to the Krishna consciousness. I've done these things. Now I have to move to something. No, this is a good thing. This is good. Just don't let your mind go out, because this is eternal thing. Use your purified intelligence to tell your mind, don't be moving because. It'll be that moving is just from many lifetimes you've been doing like that. But now opportunity, if you can somehow or other remain fixed in the Krishna consciousness, then you'll be satisfied. Just be patient. Practice these things. Be patiently. Hear nicely. Follow the guidelines. These things are meant to help you. Just calm down the mind. Calm down the mind. Don't let it run. You can do many variety of things for Krishna. You can use your mind to think of many things to do for Krishna. It's not that we don't want to, because you can't force the mind just to be still. Here, Prabhupada says very clearly that the mind is best controlled by engaging in superior activity. You can't, if you just try to do the meditation and just still your mind. I'm not going anywhere else. Just like this. No, don't think other things. Even for 1 second you can't do it. I remember when we were young brahmachari, we said we were doing our japa. We said, now, when you did your japa, did you think other things? Did you think other things? Or you just were thinking Krishna when you were doing your japa? So all right, we'll sit, and we have to be honest with each other. We'll chant the japa, and who's going to be the first one to think other things? So within a moment, one of the Brahmins, I thought something else. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Something came in my mind. So we're not very advanced. We have to, but still we have to practice. So here it is said that Prabhupada quotes from the Bhagavad Gita. Ananya Chita Sataram Yomam Shmarati Nityasa Tasyam Sulabhapata Nityadutyasa Joginam. This is a very famous verse from Bhagavad Gita from the 8th chapter. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pritha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. So here, in this particular verse, Lord Krishna and Prabhupada especially is describing the topmost yogi. They don't think other things. They're meditating on the Lord within, and they're fully absorbed. They are the topmost devotee. Constant engagement in devotional service. And then there's another verse I always remember. What is that? Tani savani kamani mayi sanyasamatpada. Just in the 12th chapter. Yes. Yetu savani kamani mayi sanyasamatpada. Ananya yogina mam jayantu upashate. For one who worships me, giving up all their activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation. Again, without deviation. So this describes, both this verse and the verse from the 8th chapter describes the topmost position. Without deviation. This is the topmost yogi. Without deviation, engaged in devotions, always meditating upon me, their minds fixed upon me. For them, I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of the birth and death. So here in this verse today, Prabhupada says, and Krishna also, who was talking this? Sukadeva Goswami, actually. Yes. So, but here Prabhupada explains that this is the topmost position. This is the topmost yogi. The bhakti yogi, and the bhakti yogi who's on the topmost level. He doesn't have to worry about, now, here it is mentioned that the yogis, by Ashtanga yoga and other yogas, if they are fully controlled, their intelligence, their mind, and their senses, they practice the pranayama and asana and all the different exercises, and then they go to the dharana and dhyana and all the different levels, and then they can just remain very calm, and they can slow their breathing, and just at they wait for a very opportune, because in Bhagavad Gita also it is mentioned the different times, and Prabhupada quotes here from Bhagavad Gita, Sukle Krishna Gate Yete, I know these verses, he says that there are different times the yogi, Krishna tells Arjuna, I shall explain to you the different times at which passing away from this world, the yogi does not come back. So if one, Dhumo Ratris, first of all it's Agni Jyotiha Sukla Sanmasa Uttarayanam Tatrapayata Gacchanti Brahma Brahma Virojana. He says that where's that verse? The one who knows the Supreme Brahman attains that Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of the fiery God, in the light, at an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in the north. So the yogis, they wait for these astronomical situations. The Agni is in the heaven, and the sun is in the north, and the waxing moon or moon is coming up. So during at an auspicious time of the day, there are different days, and even during the days there are inauspicious and auspicious, when different malevolent effects are there, and inauspicious and benevolent, and there's more auspicious. So the yogis know these things, and they're educated to the point, they're practicing the yoga where they're stilling their mind, they're stilling their senses, they're in the meditation, they know, okay, this is the time, just like Bhishma. Now Bhishma Dev, we know, he was in the battle of Kurukshetra, and he was lying at the end by Arjuna's arrows. He was on the battlefield, but he was just lying there waiting for the auspicious time of the year, an auspicious day. He didn't really need to do that because he was a devotee, a great devotee of the Lord. And as mentioned, ye tu samani kamani mai sanyasamat. One who is a devotee, fully absorbed in Krishna, Krishna says, I am the swift deliverer. And Prabhupada actually points out here that the devotee doesn't need to care about it, whether it's auspicious, inauspicious. I remember we were having this conversation in Mayapur about something or other, and someone was bringing up all of the different considerations, and it was, the directions and everything, and the ceremony at a certain time of day. Jayapataka Maharaj, he said I always remember, he said very nicely, he said, we can get into this minutely, but actually Krishna is the master of all the directions and all the time. If we just surrender to Krishna, he'll take care of everything. Of course, we can do these other things as well, just like Bhishma did, more as an example. He didn't need to do that. Krishna was looking out. He could have left at any time and Krishna would have taken him back to Godhead. He didn't have to worry about whether the sun was in the north or in the south. In the next verse, it is mentioned about Dhumo Ratrisata Krishna Sanmasa Dakshinayanam instead of Uttarayanam. It's Dhumo Ratrisata Krishna Sanmasa Dakshinayanam Tatta Chandramasa Jyoti Yogi Prapanivaratate. The mystic who passed away from the world in the smoke, the night, not in the light but in the night, the fortnight of the waning moon, the moon goes down, 6 months when the sun goes in the south, he may go to the higher planets, he may go to the moon planet, but he doesn't go beyond this world. He's gone at the inauspicious time, or not as auspicious time. But the other one who's gone during the day and the sun travels on the north end, when the Agni Dev is there in the light and all these different auspicious time of the day, then by just meditating in that way on the Lord, one can go to these higher planets. So according to the Vedic, Sukla Krishna Kate Yete Jagada Shashpate Mate, there are two ways from passing, one in the light, one in darkness. When one passes in the light, he does not come back. When one passes in the darkness, he comes back. But Krishna goes on to say, Naiti Striti Patajana yogi muyati kaschana tasmat savashukareshu yoga yukto bhavajuna. Although the devotees know these two paths, the time of the night, sun in the south, or the time in the north, they know these. They are never bewildered by that. They don't worry about those things because they always fixed fully in devotion to the Supreme Personality of God. So this is the highest level of devotee. Now, because in this verse, Yetu Savani Kamani Mai Sanyasamatprada, Krishna said, you give up all your activities without deviation, you're engaged in it, you don't think other things, you're just fully absorbed, your mind is fixed upon me. He says, I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. And Prabhupada says, explicitly stated here that devotees are very fortunate to be delivered very soon from the material existence by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Very, very fortunate. Now Krishna goes on to say that if one is not on that level, and that level one can attain, of course, but it's not that everyone is on that level, not thinking about other things, just fully fixed 24 hours a day, then Krishna gives instruction. He says, first of all, he says, if you follow like that, your mind always fixed in me, you will attain me, Krishna says. But then he says, atachitam samadatum nasaknoshim ishidam abhyasha yogina tatam mam ichchaptum dhananjaya. He says that if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regular principles of bhakti yoga. In this way you develop a desire to attain me. You see. So, Prabhupada explains here there are two processes of bhakti. One is the raganuga and one is the vaidhi. Raganuga means spontaneous. You can't think other things. When you're chanting Krishna, you're crying for Krishna. Continuously, non-stop. You don't want to shut your eyes, you want to see the form of the Lord. The gopis cursed Lord Brahma for creating eyelid because they have to blink and then takes away from seeing Krishna. So they cursed him. So someone who is like that, they're chanting, but not everyone is like that. We're chanting, we're thinking, we're chanting at Hare Krishna and we're sitting there, we're falling asleep. Haridas Thakur, he never did like that. He's chanting so many rounds every day. The devotees came and they saw him. Not like that. Even I remember in the old days I had one godbrother, we were going on the book distribution and I saw him, I was on the other side of the road and I saw him leaning up against a lamppost with his head on the lamppost. And I saw him there for a long time. And then I had a closer look, he's chanting his Gayatri. But then he, after 10 minutes, he still was, then I went over, he'd actually fallen asleep standing in the middle of the street. And people were going, not in the street, but in the footpath, people were walking past, some at traffic. His thumb was in the Brahman Gayatri. So many funny stories I could say. I remember our head pujari in Adelaide, we were all waiting for the Mangaladi and I thought, he's a little bit late after 5 minutes, still not opening after 10 minutes. And I went in the back and, generally the pujari's going, wait the Lord. He was there. He was asleep. So don't get puffed up and thinking, I'm one of these devotees, undeviated, I'm thinking. No, we are on the, there's Raganuga, those who are spontaneous devotees, they're always thinking they're crying for Krishna. Actually in Tadas Masadam Hridayam Bhati, there's one verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam that says, if you are not crying when you say Krishna's name, then your heart is hard like a stone. Hard like a stone. So we are not on that level. But this verse, Krishna very kindly said, all right, if you're not on that level, the highest level, he gives the high. This is the highest level. This is higher than the yogis of who do the jnana yoga and the karma yoga even, the bhakti yoga, and the highest of the bhakti is this. Ananya Chitta Satadam Yomam Shmarati. The Shmarati, always thinking, they don't think other things. But all right, so if you're not on that level, then just follow this. The Raganuga, there's two levels, Prabhupada said. Raganuga, Raga Bhakti and Vaidhi Bhakti. He puts like a Raga Bhakti and Vaidhi Bhakti. So if one is not on the Raga, then one has to follow the Vaidhi, because our desire is not very strong now. Sometimes we get emotional, we think Krishna, Krishna, but then the emotion goes and we think other things. And it's a lot of it's based on emotion. And so material emotion comes and goes. There is spiritual emotion, that's another thing. That is constant, and can be of different varieties, just like all the liberated souls in the spiritual world and the Krishna Loka. They have wonderful emotion. Their emotion is spiritual. But our emotion is tinged and covered. Sometimes we have a feeling, we cry about something, and then very easily we cry, and then a few moments later we're thinking something else. So Prabhupada says, yes, material emotion. He said one phrase. He said that easy to cry, easy to dry. Sometimes people, they're crying very easily. You say something, and then the next moment. Just like the children. Sometimes the children, they're crying, Daddy, give me this. No. And then the next moment they're running around playing as if nothing happened. So this is material level. So sometimes even, someone manifests some emotion, and it's good to show some emotion to Krishna, but one has to understand probably is not on the level of the high spiritual emotion yet. And Prabhupada he said, don't be eager to jump immediately to the Rasa Leela and Radha Bhav. That will be bestowed upon you when Krishna is happy with you, that you are showing some sincerity in your endeavor to advance in devotional. So he'll help you more and more. Generally we are not born pure devotees liberated. Some are, they're a rare soul. We are coming up and we are following nicely, and then gradually. Don't try to jump. Don't artificially present yourself. This is considered one of the anathas. If you read Madhurya Kandamini by Vishwanath Chakravarti, he's one of the anathas is you present yourself as very advanced, but actually you're not very advanced. So the acharyas warn about those things, because that you start to think, and then because you're not, then you commit offense. I always remember one time Prabhupada was walking in Vrindavan and all the disciples were walking with, and one man, in Vrindavan everyone goes Radhe. So one man, he just Dandavat, very quickly he ran Dandavat and blocked it, Prabhupada. Dandavat, Radhe. Prabhupada just looked, and then he walked around and just kept walking. and then we looked back, I looked back, and that man, he just got up, dusted himself off, and there was no more Radhe. So just making a show. You make a show. I remember one time I went to Badrinath and I was talking to the head pujari, and I saw all the caves in the mountain. I said, these caves, I heard that the yogis live there, and they live in the caves. Oh, he said, yeah, some people live there. I said, the yogis, these yogis, they come here? Yeah, so they come here. I said, where's the yogi? He said, there's one there. I said, where? He said, there, he's in the chai, he's drinking chai. He lives in the cave. So generally they are not the real yogis. He said, the real yogis, you don't see the real yogis. He said, actually here, because it snows out in a certain time of year, we can't stay here. We have to go down. And it's closed off there because at a certain time of year you can't go, in the winter months. There's all snow. So from about October to about March, you can't even go up. And so, but we leave, for Lord Badrinath, we leave the paraphernalia, or the deity, the offering and the arti tray, and we leave it out. And when we come back, we see someone has come and used it and done the worship. He said, we're thinking that it's the real yogis come and they do the worship, because you don't see them. They are the real yogis. Because you don't, so some of them are living high in him, they're practicing the yoga, they are the real, but you don't generally see, they isolate themselves and they don't make a show. They're not interested in cheap adoration, making a show. I'm the big yogi. I always tell the story of that. Prabhupada tells this story of the yogi. He was down in Calcutta, and he was nearby the Ganga. He was really austere and not even eating, and people would be very impressed. They would come to take the darshan of the yogi, and they would give him they want to they would give him some offering, and the yogi, no, I don't want it. Whatever they had, give it to the Ganga. Give it to Ganga Mai. Throw it there. So no, we want to give it to you. No, I don't want. Give it to Ganga. That will be more beneficial. Throw it to Ganga. So some people were suspicious. They waited at night, and then late in the night they saw the so-called yogi. He actually, in the Ganga, he had one net. And where he told the people to throw their presentation, it got caught in the net, and at night time secretly he would pull it up and he would take it in one place, and then the next morning he would be like, no, I don't want, throw it there. So some they make a show, but don't make a show. Don't make it cheap thing, making a show. And sometimes we can get like that, as devotees. We want to make a show how advanced devotee I am. I remember this, one of our godbrothers told me, he was there, two of them were in Vrindavan, way back, and they were brahmacharis, and they were doing tapasya. And so one of them thought, tomorrow I'm doing the tapasya, I'm getting up at 2:30 in the morning, and I'm chanting my japa early, chanting many rounds, like that. So he was going up and down with a brahmachari ashram, Hare Krishna, early in the morning. So the other one thought, tomorrow I'm getting up at 2 o'clock to chant my japa. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. So, and then like that. The other one said, I'm getting up at 1 o'clock in the morning. So I got up, they started to get up at midnight, and just chanting. But then later on, they were sitting in the class asleep. So the temple president found out. He said, you're doing nonsense thing. You're getting up, you're trying to show off how advanced, but you can't even stay awake in the Srimad Bhagavatam class. This is just making a show. Don't make a show. Prabhupada used to call show bottle. He used this term, show. Don't be show bottle yogi. He used to say. Don't be show bottle. You know what a show bottle? When you can get all these different bottles. Generally, the karmis have all the wine bottles. They come in all amazing different kind of shapes and colours and sizes, and then they drink their wine, but they keep the bottles and they put them on the mat, and they make a display of empty bottles. And these are like show bottles. They look nice on the outside, but there's nothing inside. So someone may look nice on the outside, and Prabhupada used that term, show bottle. May look nice on the outside, but inside there's nothing in it. So we have to be careful all these things, and we don't, we want that Krishna tells the highest level, but if we're not on the highest level, then follow the Vaidhi Bhakti. Then Krishna goes on, he's very kind. If you can't even follow the Vaidhi Bhakti, then if you cannot, then Abhyasya Pyasamato, he says, then follow, if you cannot practice these regular, then just try to do some work for me. Do something. Come to the temple, do something. You can't follow all the principles. Just do something. This will be very beneficial for you. And then he said that, well, if you can't do that, for some reason you can't come to the temple and do some work, and do the gardening or do the cleaning or do something like that, then just, all right, you work wherever you work and come and give some offering. Give up some result of your work. But Krishna says like that. That'll be beneficial. If you can't do that even, then he said just stay at home, cultivate some knowledge. He said, cultivate some knowledge. But then he comes back, but of course the highest level is the topmost level, at Dveshti Sarvabhutanam, and he describes the topmost type of devotee, who never doesn't think other things. He is a not envious person. He doesn't envy others. He is a kind friend to all, he says here. He does not think himself a proprietor. No, he doesn't think these things belong to me. Everything belongs to Krishna. I'm using them in Krishna's service. He is free from the false ego. He is equal in both happiness and distress, tolerant, satisfied, self-controlled, engaged in determination in devotional service, mind and intelligence always fixed on me. So Krishna, this is the topmost devotee. So of course, Krishna starts off giving this description, then he gives, all right, you can't do that, and do these other things, but then he said, but always remember, that the topmost is this. Don't think that what you're doing, that is the topmost, and be satisfied. That is something that you can do now, but you should always be thinking how to advance, progress. And then always keep in mind that this is the topmost level. So Krishna says in so many places in Bhagavad Gita. So if one does like that, of course, I am the swift deliverer. But nevertheless, even if one is not on the topmost level, Krishna will look after you. Krishna will look after you. Who tells that story? I think Narayani Maharaj tells that story. How Prabhupada one time said, well, Prabhupada was giving a lecture, I think in LA, you have to 100% send it to Krishna. And he'll come and take you. Krishna, Prabhupada is very hard, 100%. And Prabhupada said, all right, 90% then. 90% then. And then so even 90% Prabhupada is done. Then 80%. He was going like 80%. Said, and then, well, even 80% Prabhupada. But, well, you just follow me, cent%, I'll take you. I have the key to the back door, he said. I have the key to the back door. That's not exactly, I'm paraphrasing, but it's like, you like that. He was like, no, you 100%, oh, we can't do 100. Do 90, no, I can't do 80. Then just follow me then. If you can't, then just follow what I say, then just do like that, and then I have the key to the back door. Krishna will let you in. But don't take it for granted. Don't take it for granted. So here, coming back to this verse, just to finish up, when one actually feels that starts to feel happy doing these things and following everything very nicely, he's getting the information from the right sources. He's engaged in transcendent loving service. Instead of serving materially, one serves spiritually, and the living entity's intelligence thus becomes free from the unhappy illusion of materialistic life. So Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Anyone has any questions or comments in regard to this? Yes, Prabhu.
Maharaj, you were talking about movement in the class, and recently I read in the third canto, Srila Prabhupada writes that the devotee realizes he doesn't even have to visit all the holy pillars and sites because devotional service is available in any time, place and circumstance. So does it work like you've got a high grade attitude of perfection if one stays in one place and renders devotional service, or it's best to travel?
Yeah, Prabhupada's talking about a very advanced story. This is something that Advaita Acharya said of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to visit Vrindavan, and Advaita Acharya said, you, wherever you are, that is Vrindavan. That is Vrindavan, because you are manifesting the mood of Radha's love for Krishna. And then that actually is Vrindavan. So wherever you are, that is Vrindavan. So he's talking about someone on a very high level. And so one can create the mood of Vrindavan by their own consciousness, because Krishna is there in the heart. And so, but one has to be very, very advanced to be like that. So Prabhupada did recommend that every youth actually come to Vrindavan as far as possible. Come to Mayapur and then come to Vrindavan, imbibe the mood of the holy dhams, and then that'll be very helpful to create that mood within your own self. And then when one comes to the perfectional level, it doesn't really matter where they are. Now, Prabhupada said that one time. A reporter asked him when he arrived in Melbourne, he said, how do you like our country? Because Prabhupada said, I've been before. How do you like it here in our country? Prabhupada said, oh, I like it everywhere. What is the difference for him? He said, I like it. How do you like this country? I like it everywhere. Because everywhere is Krishna's. It can be Vrindavan if one's consciousness is high. But in the beginning stages, all right, we're endeavoring for that, but take some help, do all your chanting, all your service, go to the holy dance, Prabhupada, encourage us like that. Yes, sir.
How do we deal with some of the disappointments which are happening in our challenging material life more at the moment, like to esteem kirtan people are not coming because of the virus?
Yes, and I was just reading that there are many dangers all the time in the material. Parap, yad viparam nati sham. danger at every step. So some of these come from natural disturbances, some from other people, some of them come from diseases and so on and so forth. But the devotee should further meditate on Krishna and take whatever necessary steps as far as protecting themselves, but they absorb themselves more in Krishna and pray to Krishna and pray to Krishna to give them protection and so on and so forth. So, and not be disturbed by all that, not be disturbed by it. And so these things are going on, and they'll always go on. At the moment it's this, next year it'll be something else, or it'll come in another form. So those who are very materialist, they're very disturbed all the time. They get panicky. But the devotees, we remain calm, we remain sensible. Whatever is needed to be done, whatever they're advocating as far as the health and all these things, we're following that. But we remain calm in our own Krishna consciousness, and we continue. Or we don't think, oh, I have to give up the Krishna consciousness now. I've got to think of this thing. The devotee never thinks like that. Forget chanting and forget all of these things. I've got to follow this other thing, or what they're telling. No, the devotee never thinks like that. No, let me increase the Krishna consciousness. And now's the time to increase the Krishna, more chanting, more associating. Of course, stay a little bit away. just have to be sensible. Just a little bit of a distance. But just see how powerful Krishna is, Certainly the bacteria is a living entity, and by Krishna, just a little invisible entity in that bacteria can affect so many things in the world. It's just a small little thing. This is all under Krishna. There's some reason for it, some karma coming out here. But how you react to it is the main thing. How you react. These things are always going. Don't think we're living in a world where we can be free. There's going to be no disease, and they're always going on. Always. So how you react, that's the important part. And so remain in the Krishna consciousness, increase the Krishna consciousness, remain calm, peaceful, and take the necessary steps to protect your health and others' health, and so on and so forth. So the managers around Australia have followed the guidelines as given by the government. So we're doing that. We're following all that and being mindful of all that, putting them into place. But at the same time, we're going to continue on, whether it's here, maybe we won't be able to come to the temple. Some countries have banned religious gatherings. Malaysia's banned no religious gathering. There was that one religious gathering in South Korea, the Christian group, that a lot of infections came from that gathering. And so they banned it. So it may come to pass, who knows, they may ban. But we're at home, we can just chant Hare Krishna at home. We don't need to come together even.
Just to comment on that is already happening, because apart from coming to the temple, I go to a Pentecostal church in Chatsworth, and they're going online for the first time. They're competing against another big church Hillsong, which don't want parishioners either.
Okay, yeah. So, that's interesting. So, the religious groups have to follow the guidelines, and as far as the protection of the individual and so on and so forth, and community at large. So, we're doing the same thing. But I'm talking about it may come to pass where they'd have to close down the temple. The Melbourne Temple has actually officially closed to public because they get so many people coming there, thousands and thousands, practically hundreds every day. And so now they say that you can't have more than 100 people indoors. So they get many more than 100 coming there. So they've had to actually close the gate, and only someone with a key to come in and do the essential service can go inside there. So it's an unfortunate. We have to learn to tolerate these things. We tolerate, just like Krishna says, matra spashata kunta sitoshna sukadukana. Winter, summer, what does Krishna advise? One has to tolerate these things. So we tolerate, we can go at home, we can chant, we'll follow everything, but nevertheless our Krishna consciousness to try to be strong and increase it. You can do it individually, we can do it together, whatever the situation whatever the situation is opportune for. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanandi. Hare Hare.
Mm.